Good day, everyone, and thanks for being with us today. And welcome to this Montreal Canadiens press conference with club owner, president, and CEO, Mr. Geoff Molson.
I would also like to thank Trevor, who's been with the organization since 2003, and Scott, who's been with the organization since 2012, for their hard work and professionalism for so many years. I wish them all the best as they move on to the next steps of their careers. A fresh start. I strongly believe that this organization needs a fresh start. At this stage, a fresh start is not so much at the team level, but rather at the management level. On the ice, we have a team that is a lot better than the results show. Many components that amazed us last summer will be back soon. But equally as important, we've made 45 draft picks in the past 5 years since our reset. And we have 11 more coming in Montreal this year. It is essential that we structure our organization around properly developing this group of talent. The new management team will be responsible for evaluating our current team and how we can improve moving forward. I watched all of you last night and read your articles this morning. And to save the question, this decision to restructure the leadership of hockey operations has nothing to do with my role as president. In the past, Mark was accountable for hockey performance. Now there will be two. This is entirely my decision that I believe will make this team better. In terms of diversity and a support system for our hockey operations, we've begun the process of having more diversity in our hockey operations management. This is a priority, and once we're ready to communicate this, we will reconvene. Under the leadership of Drs. Mulder, Deckelbaum, and Harvey, we've begun the process of formalizing a medical performance team. The focus will be on our players off the ice. Included in this plan, we'll be adding resources for players and staff throughout the organization in all areas related to athlete wellness and mental health. We see these additions as a critical component to our success.
Eric Engels, John Lou, et Arpin Bassou.
I'm going to try to limit it to one question too, Jeff. What's the vision that Jeff Gorton expressed to you that made you so confident that he's the man? Because obviously he was available, but what is the vision that he is bringing to his specific role that will help support that person you put in the general manager role? Because obviously you're looking at candidates that, because of the requirements you have, a lot of them, even if they have good hockey experiences you put in your releases, have never been GM of Montreal Canadiens or of any team in the NHL. So what's the vision that Jeff has expressed to you that you bought into?
Yeah. Well, just to address the little side question, because it was 1.5 questions, that one. I hired Mark Bergevin in 2012. Thank you. I hired Mark Bergevin in 2012, and he had zero experience as a general manager of the Montreal Canadiens as well, and he did a good job. And I go back to this concept of it's a lot for one person, and if I could back up a few years and know what I know today, I would have complimented him with another person, because it's that big a job in this market, and I think it's really important for that. In terms of Jeff and what his vision is, I think Jeff is going to come here, and we're going to start a process to find the general manager that's going to work alongside him. But Jeff is going to come here, and the new person is going to come here, and they're going to assess the situation, and they're going to develop an identity that they want to have for this team, and that's their job. That's not really my job. The one thing I can say about Jeff is he's had many years of experience in various different roles, not only from a recruiting perspective and a scouting perspective, but also as assistant general manager of two teams. And so to bring that breadth of and depth of experience, I have no doubt that he and the new person will be able to develop a vision. And I've shared some of the high-level things about vision: better scouting, better player development, and a medical performance team and more diversity. Those are the high-level visions, but it's going to be up to them to figure out how we're going to do that.
John Lou?
Jeff, just a question about the timing of the decision, given that I think you described your ongoing negotiations or lack thereof that were fairly protracted. But given the timing of this decision to dismiss Mark, what consideration went into perhaps delaying it until he got over his COVID-19?
He was over his COVID-19 yesterday, and I did wait, and that's part of the situation that you have to deal with. And I often joke, sometimes I'm going to write a book about what it's like to be in my position, because every day, every hour, something changes, and you have to adjust. But you also have to remain very confidential. And you know, Mark and I, like I said yesterday, we had such a great conversation. And he completely understands what was happening, and he knows what it's like because he did it for 9.5 years. And so I don't think you should interpret at all that there was any disrespect to Mark. In fact, for 9.5 years, I don't think that even if you asked him, you would find any situation that he's been disrespected. If anything, it's been respected, and I continue to have a lot of respect for him.
Arpin?
Oh, thanks. You mentioned numerous times that you don't feel it's fair to have one person bear the burden of running this team in this market. You are the president of this team, you alone. You are bearing a certain burden as well as what's been going on and what have you, and you just mentioned maybe you should write a book one day. How have you experienced what's been going on? What is your level of ability or bandwidth, I guess, to deal with the pressures of running this team?
What's my ability?
Yeah. How have you experienced all of this?
Well, you know what? It's my job is to be able to handle that, and there will always be low moments. There'll be normal moments, and there'll be high moments. And my job is to stay positive. My job is to stay supportive of the hockey folks. My job is to make tough decisions, like yesterday. And do I go to bed at night feeling good about making tough decisions? No, I don't. But I make them. And we're having a fresh start, and I'm looking forward to it. So it's part of my job, and I love my job. And it's going to continue. My job is also to have a role in the community, and that's going to continue. My job is to introduce diversity into the organization, and that's going to continue. And my job is to oversee the people that are going to manage the hockey operations, and that's going to continue as well. And I'm not one that interferes in hockey operations, but to be able to have the total perspective in this market, and to take the business side of it and integrate it into the hockey side of it, somebody has to do that, and it's fun.
What is cheating? What is adding diversity mean specifically? If you could just define what you
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I'm talking particularly on the hockey operations side, because as a CH group, we have a pretty diverse group of people, and we have many diversity programs and training programs to educate our employees. But I think on the hockey side, there is quite a big opportunity to introduce different perspectives into the organization. And that will just make us stronger, and it'll make us make better decisions. And I truly believe that. It's not easy to do, but it certainly is a priority. And with this new management team coming into place, I think that we'll be in a much better position to make that happen.
I know this is probably not a good time to be looking for a general manager or somebody in Jeff Gorton's role. I'm just wondering what attracted you to Jeff Gorton. And I mean, in the 6 years with the Rangers, he took a team that went from the Stanley Cup final to a team that missed the playoffs his last 2 seasons.
And your question is, what attracted to me? Me too.
I'm just wondering why you think he's the guy to do the job.
Well, he's one of the 2 people that are going to do the job, first of all. And somebody with that depth of experience, whether he's been perfect or not, I'm not saying nobody's perfect in the hockey world. But I look at that team today, and the team that he was general manager up until the spring last year, and it seems to be performing pretty well. So there must have been some things that he did right. But I think when you do your research on Jeff Gorton, you find that he has a very good reputation, not only as a person, but as a general manager and as somebody who can build relationships. And when I met with him, I was thoroughly impressed. And when I talked to other people in my circle about him, there were nothing but positive things to say about him. So I think we're all going to really like to have him here. It'll be a breath of fresh air, and like I said at the beginning, a fresh start is really important to me, and we're going to do that.
He's basically known as a great scout. He's a great evaluator of talent.
He has a reputation for being a great evaluator of talent as well. But I think somebody who lasts all those years as a general manager must be doing something right as well.
Dan?
I know you touched on this a little bit, but if Jeff Gorton and whoever the new GM is, if they decide that they look at things and the best course of action is a complete rebuild, would you support that? And do you think the fan base would support maybe losing for 2-3 years or whatever that's meant?
Yeah, I think I mean I hear from our fan base all the time, and you know, you get a mixed group of comments from the fan base, but regardless of what decision they want to bring to the table, I'll be supportive if it's the right thing for the Montreal Canadiens to be a great team in the long term, and I'm not afraid of that word, and I think our fans wouldn't be afraid of that word either. So it's something that you know, I'm somebody who's a pretty good listener, and I ask a lot of questions, and I try to make my opinions informed, and if that is proposed to me, I would take everything very seriously.
Jessica?
Jeff, a lot of times when you bring in a new general manager, he wants to bring in his own people. Will the new GM have carte blanche, or is there certain positions like the head coach who just signed a contract extension that cannot be touched?
Yeah, I mean, again, I sort of just answered that in French, but I'll answer it in English. The two of them will be working together to make good decisions for the good of the organization. And at the end of the day, when something has to happen that's team related, the general manager has to be the final responsible person in making that decision, has to be accountable for it. But as far as everything else goes, I personally, I live it in the business world, and I see my teams working together and making decisions together. And to have two people thinking about making a smart decision is way better than having one person, especially in this market. And we'll see the results of those things. But I have not developed a map with different decisions that need to be made and who's going to make them. I think that's something we're going to have to work through.
But
Yeah.
you won't put any parameters on them saying that you can't do this move because...
I never have. I've never interfered with the hockey decisions. I've always been somebody who asks a lot of questions, finds a way to be supportive, and today you see me making a difficult decision, and that's probably because I reached a point where I'm not supportive anymore. And until that point, my role is to help when they need it. My role is to offer my own perspectives and to generate enough questions so that I feel comfortable with the direction that they're headed in.
I think the question is the coach safe?
I don't make the coaching decision.
And you won't interfere if they decide to get rid of the coach?
I don't make the coaching decision. Like it's I haven't even discussed that with them. That's as far as I'm concerned, he's the coach and he's staying there.
Stu Cowan?
Forgive me, Mr. Molson, it's a bit of a two-part question, but not 6 parts, but it's just 2 parts. Your Francophone fans obviously understand, and I think most of those who live in Quebec understand why you have one GM and your coach to be bilingual. You have fans all over who maybe don't understand outside of Quebec. What do you say to them to explain why that is your thinking? And the second part is, did language factor at all into your decision to hire Jeff Gorton? And was he recommended to you maybe by Gary Bettman or somebody within the NHL circle that he might be a good fit for this position?
Yeah, so your first question is how do I explain to fans outside of Quebec?
Or fans who don't understand.
Who don't understand.
Why you insist on having a bilingual.
We live in the province of Quebec, and the province of Quebec is, I don't know the percentage, but predominantly French speaking. And it's absolutely essential that the people that are working in our organization that communicate to fans on a daily basis or on a regular basis is able to communicate to them. The bilingualism is also important. And so the people that are at the head of coaching or the head of general managers also have to speak English, because we want to communicate to our fans around the world. And that's one of the unique things about this market that we have to appreciate. And that's why we do this, because in our own market, we have to respect the language, and both English and French, but we have fans all over the world. And so it's unique, and it makes it complicated. Complications can be good sometimes, and I'm pretty excited about this one. We've got 2 new people joining the organization. One of them we know about, and the other one is to be determined. And I'm excited about it. Your second question is about Gary Bettman.
Did he or somebody else maybe recommend Jeff Gorton for this role? And why is language not a factor in his position? Since there's
Well, Gary and I have a great relationship, and we talk about these things all the time. And when I have a situation that I'm trying to figure out, he's one of those people that I trust and that I rely on for his opinion. And so when the name Jeff Gorton surfaced, for sure, because he knows him, he works at the NHL, or he worked at the NHL as of yesterday. And so they got to know each other. He's also been in the New York market. So for sure, someone like Gary has a valued opinion, and I value that.
So just to offer, so how come language wasn't an issue with him filling this position?
Because the general manager is going to be bilingual, and the general manager is the person that speaks to the fans, and that's the most important thing to me. Will Jeff be speaking to fans? Sure, he will be once in a while, but the general manager is going to be the person who ultimately is going to be communicating with the fans, and that's the way it's going to be.
Richard Labbé, Éric Le.
You mentioned earlier, you moved a few years ago, then when you don't have, you brought in someone to help Arctic. I'm just wondering what you observed, what you experienced over that time, and ultimately led to the conclusion that this is no longer a one-person job.
Good question, and for sure, I listed a bunch of things that I think are really important for us to get better, and just that alone is a big job, and doing it well is a big job. And then you have the whole management of the team, and the media around the team, and the crises that happen, and the ups and the downs, and then you have trading, and you have signing contracts in 2 languages the whole time. And I think that having 2 people, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but having 2 people do this with the expertise that Jeff brings, and hopefully the expertise that the new general manager brings, is just going to make us better, and make us make better decisions, whether it's drafting a top 10 pick if we ever get one, or developing players, or including diversity into our organization, or the medical performance team, or other. I truly believe that it's important to have living in this market, 2 people at the head.
We'll take 3 more. Eric, Marc-Antoine, et Martin McGuire pour terminer.
Jeff, just something you said at the beginning was that, and considering how much stock you put into this new direction and all the plans that you've just outlaid, you said as you'd like to hire a GM as soon as possible, the sooner the better. Why is the sooner the better important to you when you would, I would assume, like to have an exhaustive search and get the best person available to fit the criteria that you fit?
Okay, so there's no question this will be an exhaustive search. And we're going to look everywhere to find the right person. But I still believe the sooner the better. But it won't be at the expense of an extensive research, for sure. There's some great candidates out there that some of you are already talking about. I haven't asked permission of any team yet to talk to anybody. But the first step is to put together, do the research and put together a list, and we'll take it from there. But there's no question it will be exhaustive, the research. Yeah.
Only asking just because some of those people obviously are under contract through the end of the year. So are you okay if this GM search extends into the off season when some of those people might be?
Yeah, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when it comes, but I don't think that we would rush into anything if we think a better candidate's going to be available in the off season. I think we'll pick the best candidate no matter what.